Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss. It is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics on my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. Just want to let everyone know that Bookmap is encouraging everyone to join Bookmap Discord. You do need a Bookmap subscription. There is a free subscription available. Once you subscribe, you will need to verify your account in Bookmap Discord, and then you can fully participate in chat and watch my stream as well as many other streams that are in Discord. And note that some are Discord only, like this Funded Trader webinar series that's going on this week. Started on Monday, ends on Friday. Note today, Robert Rother is presenting directly after my presentation at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Another reason to join Bookmap Discord. Again, this is Discord only, very valuable information if you're interested in learning how to become a funded trader. Here are the key tenets of my approach of trading. This is the basis of my approach of trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures. And they certainly are in the large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks, and also the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the Nasdaq 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index. And when traders buy and NQ, the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day as well as a directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. Setups in that asset can be taken with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the asset and the way you like to trade. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And hello, Hector, Stephen, RJ, welcome. Glad you're here. Hello, old boy, welcome. Glad you're here as well. All right, for those of you dropping out on YouTube, I'm almost done with the introduction, so we can get started. And finally, here's my agenda for today, Wednesday, November 20th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, events, and earnings for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. And I'm going to try to get to the live market earlier today, go through setup review pretty quickly. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's start with news items, economic data, and events. So today, I'm sure everyone is aware that NVIDIA reports earnings after the market closes, one of the most important stocks in the market. And I'll certainly talk about NVIDIA today to see how traders are positioned going into earnings. And for those of you who are Spotgamma subscribers, take a look at the founder's note for more information about NVIDIA and how volatility is setting up. All right, so that's today. Tomorrow, jobless claims, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And on Friday, there's the S&P PMI data, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Typically not as much of a market mover as the ISM PMI data. And then 10 a.m. Michigan consumer sentiment to wrap up the week. So most important event of the week, of course, is the NVIDIA earnings report after the market closes today. All right, let's move on to positional analysis now. And I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This is the ES Futures and Bookmap. I wanted to get to this as quickly as possible. Note this wedge pattern that is setting up in the ES Futures, making a series of higher lows, and then starting with this test of the 5,900 volatility trigger. Now, ES is also making a series of lower highs. So we'll keep an eye on this and see how it, see if it moves out of this pattern. It looks like it should in the next hour. It's getting more and more narrow. Let me just extend this line a little bit. Oops. Here we go. Edit. Let me just drag it up to well, not having much luck with that. Try one more time. All right, there we go. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. All right, so again, this is the ES Futures and Bookmap. Let's take a quick look at a higher time frame. Going to go to the underlying index. This is the SP index, SPX. Rally continues. So that's a one-day chart, 1 year, one-day chart. Let's go to the 30-day 1-hour chart now. So this is Thinkorswim 30-day 1-hour chart for SPX. Post-election rally found resistance around the 6,000 call wall correction, and then so far SPX has found support just above the 5850 level. So that 5850 level is a very important level for support. All right, so let's take a closer look at the levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday. Those levels remain in place for the entire week. Then the dashed blue lines, just right there at 5880, the zero gamma level, you can see the dashed blue line just above that. And here, just below the upper weekly expected move, that's the upper daily expected move. The dashed blue lines, and again, that's based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from yesterday afternoon. Note I do post those levels in Discord every day the evening before. So another advantage of joining Bookmap Discord. And looks like SPX right now is right on top of the lower daily expected move for today. All right, so those are the expected moves based on the options market. And the dark red lines are spot gamma levels. These are based on gamma weighted open interest. They're provided to Spotgamma subscribers, available on a variety of trading platforms. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, there's the put wall at 5,800. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. Next level up is the volatility trigger at 5,900. That is Spotgamma's proprietary gamma and volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. And we'll take a closer look at gamma in just a couple of minutes. Above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. So according to the trace tool that we'll take a look at in just a minute, and also gamma notional at the beginning of the day, market makers' position on the gamma curve is still in positive gamma. So that's the 5,900 level. Then up above that level, the level that acted as resistance before is 6,000, the call wall. That's a strike with largest net positive gamma. Again, that can be expected to act as resistance. And that's also the absolute gamma strike. That's a strike with largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That's where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. And as far as shifts in levels go, the SPX volatility trigger did shift up 5 points, up to 5,900. And the SPY volatility trigger also shifted higher by 1 point. And we can we'll see on the ES chart that both those levels were in play today, and very critical levels for setting up a short setup this morning. All right, let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1 minute chart. Oh, it looks like now ES is breaking down below that trend line. We'll get back to that in just a minute. We'll talk about setups and take a closer look at the live market. So let's wrap up our view of SPX with a with a 1 minute chart. This is showing four days worth of data: Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And on Friday, support just above the 58.50 level. Now it looks like these lows are making, SPX is making slightly higher lows during the day. There's that pattern now. SPX breaking down below that. Note key levels today. Volatility trigger at 5,900. Resistance, resistance. Now breaking down below the 0 gamma level, and also the lower daily expected move. Let's just zoom in on that so we can get a closer look. All right, so again, key resistance. At the 5,900 volatility trigger. All right, back to Bookmap. So in Bookmap, I'm using the price lines add-on so I can show SPX levels, SPY levels, and key ES levels all in one set of lines here. So let's take a look at some of the key levels. First of all, I've highlighted this here, this break below the 590 absolute gamma strike just after the cash open, and that was in higher volume. You can see all the magenta dots there, aggressive sellers just after the cash open. Then a breakdown. So there's the break below the 590 absolute gamma strike. That's the SPY level. Then another breakdown below the SPY 589 volatility trigger. And then finally the break below the SPX volatility trigger. And that was the 5,900 level and the 5910 were both noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. And so far acting more as resistance rather than support. So all these were good entry points for a short this morning, and we'll take a look at some additional clues about that in just a minute. All right, so those are the key levels on the upside. Then the level that did act as support was around the SPY 585 level. This cluster of levels right here may be a little bit difficult to read. That is the ES 5900 level. Just above that is the Spotgamma implied move low for SPX. And SPX trading back down below that level. And above that is the ES lower daily expected move, the light blue. Above that is the 58.82 gamma level that I mentioned. And then above that is the SPY 587 level. So a cluster of levels there. Note point of control is just right above that cluster of levels. And you can also see all the, this is the session volume profile. A lot of volume for today, most of the volume for today around that level and just above. All right, so again, ES now breaking down below that trend line. We'll talk about setups in just a few minutes. So those are the levels in play for ES today. Let's take a quick look at Nasdaq. And I mentioned shifts of levels again, very minor shifts higher for volatility triggers for SPX and SPY. All right, let's move on to Nasdaq. All right, Nasdaq. This is the NQ futures and Bookmap. Pretty similar pattern here. All right, let's take a quick look at the underlying index charts. Start with QQQ. I'm showing data from yesterday overnight. That's the darker shaded area. Overnight is the lighter shade, and then today, darker shade here. I'm doing that for a reason. I want to point out the low for yesterday. Whoops. Right around 494. Note that NQ is still trading above that level so far today. Not the case with NDX. We'll see in just a minute. All right, so key for today, the 592 volatility trigger. Note earlier today, the 505 level acted as resistance before the cash open. And 505 is a large gamma 4 level. Below that, 504, combo 4 level, and then again the 502 volatility trigger acting as resistance during the cash session, and then 500 is the absolute gamma strike. So it looks like QQQ has also broken that uptrend. Now it looks like maybe finding support at this combo level at 498.5. All right, that's QQQ. Let's take a quick look at NDX. Then we'll get back to Bookmap. All right, what I want to point out here is, first of all, this is low for Monday, right here. and that has acted as support today, that low from Monday. And for NDX, volatility trigger is at 470, call wall, absolute gamma strike just above that at 475. So that level acting as support for NDX. And note that NDX did undercut the low from yesterday, finding support at the low from Monday. So right now, most important, it looks like NDX finding support at its volatility trigger at 20,470. All right, shifts and levels for Nasdaq. Put wall did move quite a bit lower, down now below the call wall. It was above the call wall yesterday. Now back down to below, down at 18,500. All right, let's get back to Bookmap now. So in Bookmap, again, I have all these levels on my charts, QQQ levels and NDX levels, as well as key NQ levels. All right, so key for today, cash open right here, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Right after that, break below the QQQ volatility trigger in higher volume. You can see all the magenta dots there, and then that level acting as resistance again today. And support right around the NQ 20,500 level, as well as the QQQ 497 level. All right, we'll get to setups in just a moment. Let's wrap up positional analysis now by taking a look at Gamma. All right, so I'm going to go to start with Gamma notional at the beginning of the day. Part of the planning process, taking a look at this information, Gamma notional for the S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100. Note all these numbers are positive except for QQQ, still negative. They did shift higher from yesterday. Yesterday, Gamma notional was slightly negative for SPX and SPY, and on Monday it was negative across the board. So Gamma notional climbing a little bit higher yesterday and today, back into positive territory for all of these except for QQQ. All right, so that's market maker's position on the Gamma curve at the beginning of the day. Now let's take a closer look at current Gamma notional. This is the trace tool. Spotgamma trace showing Gamma. This is market maker's position on the Gamma curve. You can see all the blue Gamma exposure bars, GEX bars, right here. This is real time, or actually 1340, so it updates every 10 minutes. All right, so you can see a lot of positive Gamma, and then pockets of negative Gamma above and below. So all this positive Gamma that's shown here in real time is helping to subdue the move up and down. Market makers trading against price according to this. So again, that's helping to subdue volatility for today, leading more of to more of a after that sharp move down just after the open, more of a range trading day today. Let's take a quick look. Let's go back around the step back in time. Go to around the just after the open today. So again, positive Gamma. Let's step quickly through this. So this is at 940. Blue shading showing positive Gamma. And again, all the blue bars over to the left showing positive Gamma dominating in the current price range here. So as we step forward, see more positive gamma developing below, down around 58.50. And positive gamma at 58.50 was building. Now dropping off, building again. But still positive gamma throughout the day. So it looks like, according to this, SPX is right at the spot gamma implied one-day move low that's shown right here. All right, so based on this, my thesis for the day was looking for lower volatility. Note this spot gamma index, 80%, that's pretty high. It was closer to around 68, 70% earlier today. So it is increasing. So looking for more stability, more mean reverting range type price action today in this positive gamma, especially after a couple of big days, big movement the last couple of days. So looking for more consolidation and positive gamma today. All right, let's move on now to real time, to execution. Take a look at some setups from today. Then we'll get to the live market. All right, so this is the Spotgamma Hero tool, Spotgamma Hero indicator. Hero is hedging impact real-time options. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. I'm going to cut right to the chase and show you the hero signal that I thought provided the best signal today. That is the S&P equities, and that's been the case on Monday and Tuesday. Still the same today. So I'm just going to focus on this for the S&P 500. So there are two signals that we can take a look at for the S&P 500. This is the index signal and the equity signal. Again, I'm going to cut right to the chase. I thought the S&P equity signal was providing a lot more clarity today. So we'll stick with that for the S&P 500. And I'm going to go to open up full screen. And just a quick explanation. What this chart is showing is price with a white line. That's for SPX. And the purple signal is the hero signal. Again, hedging impact real-time options, showing options trades and market maker hedging activity in real time for all 500 stocks in the underlying index, the S&P 500. All right, so this is the purple signal as the total signal, showing combined calls and puts. And I'm going to separate out puts and calls for more clarity. We'll see why in just a moment. I'm going to have to jump back to avoid the auto zoom. All right, let's zoom in on this. Go to the morning. All right, so what this is showing is the blue line is showing puts. A falling blue line indicates traders are buying puts, market makers are selling the puts, and they have to sell either stock or ES futures to hedge their delta exposure. And note they were buying puts from the open. They were also selling calls for a few minutes. Price dropped lower. Some call buyers came in for a short period of time, and that stopped, right around 9:52, 9:53. Then the call buyers turned into call sellers. At that point, from around 9:52, 9:53, traders were selling calls and buying puts. Blue line, orange line moving in the same direction, and that's a very powerful directional indicator. In this case, definitely bearish. So let's go down to Bookmap. Let's zoom in on the morning here. So we're going to focus on the short setup first. We'll take a look at the long when the options flow, the hedging flow shifted. But we'll focus on this. So again, we're looking at the equity signal and also Bookmap here. So you can see in Bookmap very clearly making a series of lower highs. Cumulative volume delta shown by this line right here. Dark blue to magenta, falling the whole time. Then right around here is where the call line shifted from positive delta to negative delta, and price continued to make a series of lower highs and finally made a sharp drop at this final test of the 588 level. So if you weren't already short at the, well, first of all, short at the 590 level, next at the 589 volatility trigger, next at the 5900 volatility trigger, two final short entries right there along that trend line, and then a final break of the 588 level. And I do look at this market pulse price change indicator as a confirmation for, in this case, short entries for a downtrend, confirming a deeper pullback for a downtrend. So they mark the level at the open, the first entry, first short at the open, and the next between 9:45 and 9:50, and the last just after 10 a.m. before the drop accelerated. So we know also cumulative volume delta, you can see especially all the magenta volume dots right at the open. Cumulative volume delta falling. Oops. Also this yellow line indicating sell stop orders were helping to fuel the move lower, and large traders eventually came in with iceberg orders. Those are sell iceberg orders they use to hide their size. Series of lower highs at key levels. Traders selling calls and buying puts, and aggressive sellers all contributing to this move lower. All right, so that's the short setup in the SP 500 today. Let's take a look at the long. So just looking here in Bookmap, you can see all of the aggressive buyers start to come in, starting before the actual low. Large green volume dot, those are market buy minus sell. Green volume dots, more buyers than sellers. Magenta dots, more sellers than buyers. Aggressive buyers coming in, starting to make a series of higher lows. And again, pullback entries confirmed by the market pulse, actually here. First pullback entry confirmed by the market pulse price change indicator. All right, let's zoom out now. So again, on a more of a bigger picture. ES making a series of higher lows, found resistance at 5900 volatility trigger. Let's go back to Hero, see what options traders are doing. All right, so looking at the call line here right around 1020, traders stopped selling calls, started buying calls, price moved higher. For a moment, the put buyers took their foot off the gas, and then they resumed buying puts. Also started selling calls again, price moved lower, call buyers came in again. All right, so that reversal higher, really driven by call buyers in the SB equity signal. Back to Bookmap. Bookmap. All right, so there's the reversal right around 1020 as traders started buying calls. Again, aggressive buyers came in, cumulative volume delta rising. Some large traders start buying with iceberg orders shown by the rising light blue line. All right, let's take a look at Nasdaq. Then we'll take a look at a few stocks, including NVIDIA, which reports today, and then we'll get to the live market. All right, Nasdaq, similar pattern. Cash open, break below the, you can't see the label there, but that is the 502 volatility trigger for QQQ. Break lower. Cumulative volume delta falling. Sell stop orders help to fuel the move lower. And again, a move lower and higher volume. A lot of aggressive sellers right just after the open. And again, resistance at the volatility trigger 502. Volatility triggers are very important levels. Let's see what options traders are doing. So again, I'm going to cut to the chase, go directly to the Mag 7 signals. So for the Nasdaq, there are two signals that we can take a look at. The index signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for QQQ and NDX combined signal. And then this is the Mag 7 signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla. So very similar picture to the SP equities, which is often the Mag 7 plus 493. Zoom in a little bit. From the open, traders selling calls, buying puts. Right around 9:45, briefly take the foot off the gas. Call sellers come back in at around 9:55. Again, blue line, orange line moving the same direction. Price moves lower until about 10:20 when the call buyers come in. All right, let's go to Nasdaq now. So we know from the open, traders were selling calls, buying puts. A brief pause, then they resume. Let me zoom in on that. There's that pause as some call buyers come in. They start selling calls again, and price starts to move sharply lower. I thought the levels, as they are typically, were a little bit more clear in the S&P 500 than Nasdaq, but price action again driven by Mag 7 options traders. Note in the case of Nasdaq, there were some large traders coming in, fading the move. That's very typical behavior of large traders with iceberg orders. They will buy weakness and sell strength. That's exactly what they were doing here. Buying weakness as price dropped down, and finally found support right around the 20,500 level. That's for NQ, and also the QQQ 497 level. Let's go back to Hero. All right, 10:20. Call buyers came in. And the put buyers took the foot off the gas. Then they started buying puts again, stopped buying calls, and then price reversed lower. Made one more move higher up to the 502 level. This is QQQ price. That's the 502 volatility trigger. And note, as price moved up to that level, the call buyers stopped. That's about as flat a line as you can get. So that right around, just before noon, 11:55 maybe, stopped buying calls as price reached the QQQ 502 volatility trigger, and they continued to buy puts. Now price grinding slightly lower. Let's take a quick look at some stocks, then we'll get to live market. Jacobson, welcome, glad you're here. Sorry about the newbie question. There is no question. No need to apologize. I appreciate your question. So I'm using two things here. First of all, I'm using Bookmap. That's my main trading and charting application. So again, this is Bookmap. And then I'm also looking at, right now, Spotgamma Hero. That's right here. And I'm also using the trace tool, which was very valuable today. This is for SPX. Oh, and so I hope that helps, Jacobson. John 412, welcome, glad you're here as well. In the future, if you can, please join me in Bookmap Discord. I think I saw you in there on Monday. All right, so John asked, when you get to the section regarding stocks, please discuss why you think the put wall on Meta continues to exist at 565 when prices have traded as low as 548 recently. All right, so I will talk about Meta today. Let's get back to Hero. Let's quickly go through some stocks. First of all, Apple. 230 key gamma strike. Absorption at that level today. Note traders were buying puts just a couple of minutes after the open, started selling calls. Orange line, blue line moving the same direction. Price moves lower, and then they took the foot off the gas, and price now consolidating. So that's Apple. Let's take a quick look at Bookmap. Go to Apple. Apple absorption just at the 230 level, the key gamma strike. So price never traded quite up to that level. This is the heat map and Bookmap showing a history of limit orders in the order book. Those are all limit sell orders, typically a track price, but the buyers became exhausted before price reached that level. Let me bump up the volume dots just a little bit. So buyers were exhausted. This is the opening print, that big green volume dot. Aggressive sellers start to come in, and traders started selling calls and buying puts. Price moved lower. They took the foot off the gas around 10:30. Now price consolidating. All right, next stock, Amazon. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go to Amazon. Also selling calls and buying puts, shown by the falling orange line, falling blue line. Flow alert comes in just after the open, get your attention. Took the foot off the gas around 10:10, 10:20, and now call buyers have come in, and price was grinding a little bit higher. Let's go back to Bookmap. Amazon. Amazon drops lower. And did trade through the 200 level. And those limit buy orders at 200 were consumed. You can see the large magenta volume dot there. And they actually traded down to 199.50 and consumed those orders as well. So looks like the limit buy orders at 199.50 and 200 were both consumed. All right, next stock, Meta. All right, so let's see what options traders are doing. Let's go to Meta. So Meta, the 565 put wall. And John, yeah, that is a little bit strange. There's the 565 put wall. Looks like that level is acting as resistance today. All right, just looking at the hedging flow. Again, traders selling calls at the open. It looks like the call sellers, call buyers, really driving price in Meta today. They took the foot off the gas right around 20, started buying calls. That accelerated right around 11:40. You can see the flow alert comes in again, and they take the foot off the gas as price comes back to the 565 put wall. John, if I have time, I'll take a look at the equity hub and see if we can gather more information there. But yeah, I agree that is strange that the 565 level remains as the put wall. Let's go to Bookmap. So again, we know 565 put wall, 560 is the key gamma strike. So there's the put wall. Oh, it's 565, I'm sorry. So right up here. So 560 is the key gamma strike, and 565 is the put wall, acting more as a resistance rather than support. So John, that would be a good question for Brent tomorrow in the subscriber Q&A. All right, so that's Meta. Let's take a quick look at Microsoft. See what options traders are doing. This is very typical of Microsoft, this large block order, institutional order, kind of obscures the hedging flow. So that's a large institutional block order selling a large number of calls, causing that vertical line there. All right, so you can see same thing for Microsoft from the opening. Traders selling calls, buying puts. Right around 10:20, take the foot off the gas, and Microsoft consolidates. Note 415 is the hedge wall. $415 hedge wall. Microsoft finds support right around 411 as the call sellers, put buyers took the foot off the gas. All right, let's go on to the stock of the day, NVIDIA. Choppy price action in NVIDIA. No cumulative volume delta here. This is definitely noteworthy that traders are aggressive sellers are selling NVIDIA all day long from the open. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go to NVIDIA. So they are buying puts. That's shown by the falling blue line. They've been buying puts for most of the day, starting right around 9:45. There were some call buyers that came in right around 10:15. Price moved higher, and now they are selling calls and buying puts. Note for the day, though, call traders are buying calls, so that's a positive delta notional. So net for the day, traders are buying calls, buying puts, put buyers more aggressive. That notional value, negative notional value, is higher for puts than calls. So net for the day, traders are buying calls and buying puts, positioning themselves for the earnings report at the close today. And according to Spotgamma, the expected move was plus or minus right around 7%. And the last time I checked in Thinkorswim, the expected move was around 13.3 points. Let's go back and check that again. Go to NVIDIA. Go to an options chain. So this is for Friday. So I think the Spotgamma must be the number maybe just for today, plus or minus 7%. And this is for Friday, 22nd, November 22nd. Implied volatility 155%, plus or minus right around 13.5 points. And again, that's for Friday. So that's right around 9%. All right, so that's NVIDIA. And let's take a quick look at Tesla. So in the morning, just like everything else, most of the other Mag 7 stocks, traders are selling calls and buying puts. And in this case of Tesla, they took their foot off the gas later on in the day, right around 11:30. They stopped buying puts, started buying calls. Now Tesla trying to grind higher. Let's take a look at Bookmap. Go to Tesla. Tesla makes a series of lower highs. Actually continued here, but found a bottom at 11:30, right at 335. Was making a series of higher lows, and then broke that just after 1:30. Looks like just around the same time at the as the S&P 500 broke below that trend line. All right, so that's Tesla. Let's go back to check the S&P 500 here. All right, so that break below the that uptrend line, so this wedge pattern was resolved. Looks like to the downside, still in positive gamma, so kind of a grind lower so far. Finding a resistance at this is the ES, lower daily expected move. This light blue line. Let's see what options traders are doing now in the S&P 500. Does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Let's go back to the equity signal. I'm going to shift over to the total signal here so we can get a little bit more clarity. So starting right around noon, the S&P equity signal has been making a series of lower highs. Sorry about that. Auto zoom will jump. So just like every day this week, I think the S&P equity signal is definitely providing the more clarity, a better signal, more correlated with price. So traders are And John, thank you for joining me in Discord. Really helps out. The more people in Discord, the better. All right, so S&P equities signal continues to move lower since about noon. Same for Mag 7 signal, and really made a move lower, flattened out. Now right around right around 145, making a move sharply lower. So in this case, I'm definitely looking for short entries in both Nasdaq and the S&P 500. Let's check trace delta pressure. And what this is showing, let me change. I'm going to change over Hero to the S&P equity signal. More closely correlated with price. So you can see earlier today, this red above, that is red selling pressure, blue below buying support. So it looks like now S&P 500 may be moving down toward some buying support. But since around noon has been in this red zone of selling pressure. Now trading below the one-day implied move low. Back to Hero. Back to equities. Back to Bookmap. Let's check the Gamma chart. Note all this positive gamma here. Most likely acting as support. And I'm looking at I have Hero set to the index signal, so a little bit of a conflict between the index signal, which I'm showing here, and the equity signal. So let's change over to the equity signal here. This is changing Hero from the S&P index signal to the S&P equity signal. And again, still you can see all this positive gamma here, helping to support the market. And this will highlight the conflict between the index signal and the equity signal. Index signal moving up, equity signal moving lower, and the S&P 500 grinding slightly lower and positive gamma. All right, does anyone have any questions? Questions, any stocks you want me to take a look at? So we'll just watch ES for just a few minutes. Let's check Nasdaq. Ed P, welcome. Glad you're here. Ed P says, you may have done this in the past, but what are the acronyms for your levels? So which levels are you referring to? The Spotgamma levels or the expected move levels? All right, I'll just go on. For the Spotgamma levels, absolute gamma strike, AGS, volatility trigger, VT, call wall, CW, put wall, PW, and for the expected moves, LDEM is the lower daily expected move, UDEM is upper daily expected move. So again, for Spotgamma levels, call wall, CW, put wall, PW, and volatility trigger VT, and I think that's it. Absolute gamma strike, call wall, put wall, volatility trigger. All right, it's time for me to wrap it up. The Funded Trader webinar series is beginning right now. Oh boy, sorry, too late. I've got to wrap it up because of the Funded Trader webinar series. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. And have a great rest of your week. I will see you next Monday. Thanks again. Bye.